Hi, CIS101. Have you ever had one of those times where you recorded an entire video and then realized you forgot to hit the record button? Yeah, I've never had one of those times, except for maybe like 10 minutes ago. Anyhow, here we are again. I've confirmed the record button. It says recording, so we're all good to go. So this week is what I like to call a workshop week. And we're going to dive into some practical applications of things, of technology, that I think you'll find very useful. We don't have a textbook chapter this week, so that's good. I mean, I like our book, but that's good because that'll give you plenty of time for this other thing. Mostly, your big skill this week is you need to be curious. And I love this quote. The mind that opens up to a new idea never returns to its original size. By the end of this class, your head's going to be like so big, you're not even going to know what to do with yourself. Always start off with the checklist. This video that you're watching right now will be in this other spot here, but it's not there right now. And on the checklist, I definitely always just read through it. I like to use the document outline because then I can jump down to, the different sections. There's some useful resources that I pulled out of the help desk that I think you'll find particularly useful this week. And then I've got a section for looking ahead on the calendar. And so let me close that and jump back over to Moodle just to show you where things are. So in the Think section in Moodle, we're going to look at this idea of what the pandemic has done to our work environments. Okay, and people have always worked remotely, but what this will do is this will show us this idea of digital nomads, and I actually know a few people that fall into that category. So that's something to think about. And then we're going to look at this idea of academic integrity. There's a couple of things here, like you're going to see several things here. Why should I care about academic integrity? A message about that. Evaluating sources for credibility. There's so much information out there. How do you know if it's useful? Like, how do you know if it's worth even putting into your paper or into your project or paying attention to? We're going to start that process. We're going to use something called Google Docs that many of you have used already. As a matter of fact, my checklist is in a Google Doc, and it's super easy. I love it because it makes it really easy for me to collaborate with people. It makes it easy for me to share it with people. It's just a super nice piece of technology. Anyhow, if you've never used it before, there's a couple of beginner guides here and tutorials. But even if you have used it, I would suggest just glancing over it because there's so many tips and tricks that you might find something interesting that you didn't know you could do. But because you have a college email account, you also have a Google Drive account. So for the project we're going to do, you can use that account if you want, or you can use your personal Google account, either one. But definitely read over those resources. And in the do part, I'm going to glance over 3 of these and then jump into one. And so we've got the Reliable Sources Project. That's the one we're going to jump back over to Moodle for. And then your week 4 insights, we're going to use a Q&A forum on Moodle. One of the outcomes of this class is I want you to try lots of different technology in lots of different ways. And our website, Moodle and Discord, they both have lots of cool things built in. So I'm going to give you the chance to try this one out. It's a Q&A. You have to read my question that I have posted there and respond to it. And once you do that, you can see what other people have written. Okay, it's just a different type of forum to use. All right, so, and we already talked about the Zoom signups. Let me show you one more thing. There's the useful resources. In looking ahead, I just pulled this from the class schedule and copied it here. And I realized I hadn't actually opened up the class schedule. And I'm really sorry about that. Like, it was there, I just forgot to open it up so you could see it. So if you look at important information, you'll see the class schedule. And if you also look in, if you go up towards the top of the page, way up here, the quick links, there's the class schedule. So definitely look at that. We'll use that. We'll go by that on a pretty regular basis. I use that as a checklist. All right. So there's all the videos. Let's go down here to reliable sources. All right. Under reliable sources, I'm going to open that up. It's going to open up a document. And the whole purpose of this project, and this is a multi-week project, it's going to go over 6 weeks, but we have things due in 5 of those weeks. So the last part you get 2 weeks to do. And I've broken it down into small chunks. And the big idea here is, can you pick a technology related topic and find reliable information about it? And so the outcome of this is you'll create an annotated bibliography, which sounds a little scary, but it's not really. Most of you are familiar with a bibliography, a list of sources. And so you're going to come up with a list of sources, and for each source, you'll do a summary and an evaluation. And we're going to hit these step by step. So by the time you get to the end, hopefully it'll be fairly straightforward. And so here's the process. So this document has the overall concept and then part 1. All right, so each week you'll get a different part. So this part, we're in topic selection. Next week, we're going to develop a list of evaluation criteria. So we'll look at what that's all about. Week 6, resource selection. So you'll pick 7 to 10 reliable sources and submit that with why these are related and why they should be considered reliable. So it's not a full annotation yet, you're just gathering information. And then submit one. So I tried to come up with a better name, but that's the name I came up with. You'll create one annotation for one source and submit it and get some feedback on that, so you know if you're on the right track. And then 2 weeks later, you'll have the whole bibliography that is due. And we'll do a peer review, so you'll have a chance to get feedback before I get it. And usually that works out pretty well. So those are the 5 steps. And like I said, we'll go through them week by week. I've broken it down into bite-sized chunks. I think you'll find it really useful, actually. I think this is one of the most useful projects. So I give you lots of guidance on how to pick a topic. And your goal this week is you're gonna pick 3 topics that are tech related. And I give some examples here. You're going to submit those to me. Well, you'll pick the topic and you'll find one article, like tech related article that has to do with the topic. Okay. And then you'll submit those to me and I'll give you feedback and say, this is the one I'd like you to do. So make sure your 3 topics are really good ones that you're really interested in. All right. I give you some starting points of where to look for topics. Moodle, we've got that tech news section. Twitter, your follow 50 people, like if they're talking about stuff you find interesting. The VVC library databases are fantastic, and the article databases. And so I listed 3 here that I really like that seem to work well for this project. And the VVC librarians, let me just go to that page for you. I don't know if you knew this, but you can get live help from the librarians. All right. So chat with a librarian. Here's the hours they're open. You plug in your questions, start the chat. Somebody will answer. Okay. And it gives, there's some help here for, how to join and what to do and different things. But if you go to this page, honestly, they're probably bored out of their gourd because they're used to helping students all day and nobody's on campus. And so you would make them smile if you ask them a good question. How can we help you? I'm really interested in space travel to Mars. What can you help me find some good sources on that? Ask them a question. They'll answer you. So that's got that part. And then the next part of this particular part of the project is demonstrating word processing skills. So one of the outcomes for the class is that you'll learn to use productivity software, and Word documents are definitely productivity software, right? And so when you go through this, here's some starting points. I listed those tutorials again that I showed you in Moodle. There's just this word processing skill list. On this part, this is just check off. Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? It's pretty much a big follow the instructions. And so when you create your document, you need to include all of these things. Literally just check them off, and then write up your 3 ideas and follow those directions. And then you're going to submit them to me as a PDF. And what I love about Google Docs is it makes that really easy. You just go to File, Download as a PDF. Boom. And then you're going to upload that file. You'll come back here, come to, whoops, scroll down a little. Come back here to reliable sources. Down at the bottom, it says add submission. and then it lets you upload your file. So that's pretty straightforward. The main idea I want you to have here this week is to be curious about how technology is used in the world around you, curious enough to go looking for some sources on it. And don't worry if you don't do it perfectly. And if you need to run some stuff by me, that's fine. And when you give me the document at the end of the week, I'll give it back to you. Like I'll share feedback with you, and we can talk back and forth about what your topic will be. And I think it's going to be a fun project. So sign up for Zoom on the Apollo bot on Discord. And before you do your insights, make sure that you read everything. That would be good. All right. You have a good day, and I'm looking forward to your topics.